Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast. Hopefully, you're having a great week. It's another Thursday morning. Well, or Thursday, Friday, whenever you're listening. But hopefully, you're having a good week. Getting close to the weekend. Hopefully, some golf for everybody out there. And, enjoy Mother's Day. Maybe if your mother plays golf, take her out for a round, play a little bit. My mother, in the 41 years I've been on this earth, I've seen her hit literally 6 golf balls. And she thinks golf is one of the dumbest sports in the world. So, not my mom. Won't be taking her out on Sunday to golf, that's for sure. Before we get into it, I just want to let you know this episode brought to you by Team Titleist. And, we're excited to share with you guys exclusive opportunities from Titleist. But to be a part of them, you have to join Team Titleist. Team Titleist gives you access to opportunities like prototype testing, special events, limited edition gear from Titleist, and so much more. Sign up and join us on Team Titleist at www.titleist.com/Team Titleist. All one word, Team Titleist. So check it out. If you're somebody who wants to test prototype golf balls, anything like that, you've seen those white boxes floating around with limited markings on the ball, all that stuff. That is Team Titleist, man. So go check it out. Go sign up. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. It's just kind of a bunch of super passionate golfers. Just a community of that. So check it out. And back today. Actually played a decent amount of golf, and I know last week I had a great show with Sam Hahn from Lab Golf. I know a lot of people were really happy that I had him on. They really enjoyed the show. He's super informative. So, big thanks to him for coming out, I guess, taking time for him to join me on the show. But had a good time talking with him. So I didn't talk a whole lot about my game or anything. So it's one of those things where I played in two weeks of league, and then last weekend I went and played 2 rounds with a couple buddies on the west side of the state. So it was a good time. Got some golf in. Driver struggles are absolutely real. My swing is just, for whatever reason, when it comes to driver, my swing is just absolute trash. I won't even say for whatever reason. It's my problem that I'm just coming over the top and down on the ball and just tomahawking it off the toe. So it's been a real struggle for driver, which is like I said, it's progressively gotten worse. It was better in the winter, and then it's gotten worse as as I've played. But we'll get into a little bit of some league play. I know everybody's always kind of interested in the Thursday night men's league, and I am no CPG, so I'm not that entertaining. But 2 weeks in. Last week, I think I mentioned it briefly. It was a beautiful day, but it was super windy. It was warm, but it was super windy, and I kind of just struggled around. I struggled on 2 holes, and I shot what did I shoot? I think I shot 43, and I shot a 42, 43. And really, it was 2 holes. The first hole, which is always a struggle, I like basically, I don't know if it was nerves or what, all the people standing around, basically flat out top to drive for the most part. Hit it like maybe 150 yards. And then, I was hitting 3-wood, but I topped it. And then I tried to hit a hybrid, into the wind just to get it like kind of in the rough in front of the green. And again, if you're anybody who's ever played St. Clair Shores Golf Course, the green has like a little kind of grass, we'll call it a grass bunker, but it's really just kind of a little slope on the front right. And I was trying to hit it into there, so I kind of chip it on and walk away with maybe having a par putt. But I hit it way right, and I had to yell 4 because it was like almost on the tee box. On 2, hit a nice little wedge that I thought was like on, like I was like right at the flag. I had to keep it low because it was the trees. Hit a nice little wedge in there. It came up like just short. Just kind of tapped it, so I ended up actually getting away with a bogey there, which was kind of nice. I made a putt and got away with bogey, and then the second hole was just kind of the same thing. I like topped my drive again, just picking my head up, and again try to hit hybrid from I think it was only like 180 something away, but the wind was just blowing straight into us, and so I kind of choked down hybrid and I hit it, and it was like dead straight, just right at the just right edge of the green. I thought I would catch the right edge of the green, and then like it got by these trees at line, and it just went dead right. Like it went 85% of its life dead straight, and then just turned right like out of nowhere. And it went OB. I ended up making triple there. I think I made a 7. Had to drop, knocked a wedge on, whatever. So, and then I kind of plodded along, played pretty well, made some pars and, some pars, couple bogeys. And then I got to the old Nemesis number 8, man. And it was, OB on the left side. I didn't hit it OB, but I snap hooked it into the trees, knocked it down, tried to hit some like hero low 3-wood from underneath the branches. Well, that didn't work out. And then ended up just kind of chopping it along the rough until I got it on the green, and then I think I 2-putted and walked away with a pretty crappy double on there. So it was just, it was just one of those days. I don't know if it was the wind or what, but I didn't have it going on for at least 2 holes. If I could have taken away those 2, I mean, I would have shot 40 with no problem. And then went out last Thursday, and we played the back 9, which is my preferred 9, to be 100% honest with you. Hit driver a little bit more. And it's a little more wide open, but went out there, played the back 9, and shot a 39. So I went out there, no birdies, just walked off, made a handful of pars, and then at the end made a couple kind of rough bogeys. But like the easiest hole that we play is the 17th hole. And I've been hitting decent shots all day, and well, actually 2 is 16, which is like the hardest hole of the course. But I mean, I just, for whatever reason, I was like, I'm not going to hit this thing left. I'm going to hit a good drive. And I just hit a big old slice right. And it's like I hadn't hit any club even close to right all day. And I hit driver right. And then I was playing the PXG Gen 5 with that UST Link M40X Blue. And I actually hit it pretty good on the par 5. On hole 1, I hit it really well. Hit it to aimed it out to the right. And I think it caught just a hair of the rough on the right side. And then I hit it again on the par 5 and hit a great drive down there. And then, it was one of those, on 16, I get up there and I'm pretty confident and I hit the shot. It just flares right. But I found it. It was fine. I was in these trees, punched it out, and then just hit I got like a flyer wedge that just sailed on me. It was I didn't think it was gonna fly like that, but then when I first hit it, the hole was into the wind. I was like it won't even get there, and it got up in the air, and I was like, it's gonna fall straight out of the sky, and just kept going and kept going. And I hit to like the back of the green, and then I ended up like 3-putting because I hit a terrible first putt that went like 6 feet by the hole. So it was just like, oh man, it was kind of a mess. So I made 6 there, which, I mean, that's the hardest hole in the course because it's long, but it's really not that long. It shouldn't be anything that big of a deal to me. And then the 17, which is like the easiest hole in the course, it's like a 310-yard par 4. And I hit driver out to the right a little bit again, which was kind of interesting. And then, or did I hit 3-wood? No, I think I hit 3-wood. And it was out to the right, but didn't have a ton in. I had like 66 or 70 yards in, and just flat out laid sod over a wedge. And I'd hit wedges well all day. It was interesting. I chipped it around pretty well, hit decent wedges, and then just flat out laid the sod over it. So I had to chip that on, made bogey there, and so I made a bogey and a double, still shot 39, and I'm fairly happy with that. I got it around there all right. This week we go back to the front. It's not supposed to be as nice. Hopefully it's not as windy, but it's supposed to be kind of chillier, I believe. And then I think I'm playing Friday as well, which is exciting. So I didn't win any money. I did win the first week. I did win a closest to the pin, which was nice. So that put a couple bucks in the old pocket. I didn't hit it that close. I think the second par 3, I knocked it to like, I think I hit it to like 10 feet. It wasn't anything that crazy, but it's like a 175-yard par 3, and it was, like I said, really windy. So a lot of people just don't hit the green, or they hit it pretty far away. So I hit it to like 10 feet and made par. And then that ended up holding up, which was pretty shocking. So I won a couple bucks there. And then, last week I didn't win anything, which, I mean, when you're not having pars. But it was a good day. And then, this week we play the back to the front 9. We'll see how it goes. I got to decide. I still haven't decided what's in the bag yet. Excuse me. It was interesting. So then this weekend, I guess I'll get into maybe what's in the bag in a minute. So then this weekend I played over on the west side of the state. Played 2 different courses that I'd never played before, both of them which I don't know if I'd ever heard of before. And now I can't remember the second one's name. But we went and played Kaufman over on the outside of Grand Rapids, which a buddy of mine had some family used to play there. And we played that on Friday. and it was a beautiful day. It was awesome, and that's a pretty fun course. It's kind of cut out a lot of trees, but it's got some water on it, some water, some creeks and stuff that run through it. And we played, and with that we kind of played kind of 2-man team stuff, like 2-man scrambles and stuff. Because two of the friends, we had 4 guys, 3 other guys other than myself. We kind of do a little guys weekend. Went to Grand Rapids, visited a couple breweries and stuff like that, and just hung out. And it was a great time knowing the guys since. The 2 of the guys I've known since grade school, since like literally 2nd grade, and then the other guy I've known since freshman year of high school, and he's the best man at my wedding. So just good buddies, and we just went out and played golf. But one of my friends, I think the 2 rounds we played will probably be the only 2 rounds he plays all year. So we kind of mixed it up and played a little, like 2-man scrambles and stuff like that, just to make it a little more, take a little stress off him having to play his own ball the whole time. And it was a good time. So we didn't really have full scores. Again, that was the thing where, like, driver, I just really struggled. I had Rogue ST and Stealth Plus out there. Rogue ST Max LS and the Stealth Plus, had both of them out there. And then I had Ventus TR and then that UST Link Purple, both out there in those heads. And I was kind of swapping them back and forth. And I kind of found that the TR and the ST was not bad. It was a pretty good combo. I hit that pretty well. I kind of swapped out here and there. I did hit probably my best drive of the day. I probably ripped that Max LS with the Link Purple on a par 5 and just absolutely nuked it. That was the best drive I hit all day. But again, the same thing. Hit a bunch of good iron shots. It was. On Friday, it was warm at Kaufman. We played, out there. It was really warm. It was a little windy, but not bad. And then the second day, God, I can't remember the course we played now. I don't know why I can't remember the course. But anyway, we played this other course that has 3 9s, and man, I don't know why I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, I'll wait till my credit card bill comes and it'll be on there. But anyway, that was like cold. It was rainy. We ended up only playing 17 out of 18 holes. We got to 17. And we got behind a group of guys who were at least one of which was so intoxicated he could barely walk around. He almost fell in a bunker. 17 is this little par 3. Almost fell in a bunker. It was like he was just whacking playing whack-a-mole in the bunker, and just I think they ended up just picking the ball up and taking it out. They were taking forever, and then they finish and it started to rain, so we played 17 real quick. And it was like we were like not even. And then when we got up to 18, they were still they were basically just driving away from the tee, and we were like, "Screw it, we don't need to play 18. This is dumb." So we just took off. But I played. I brought the PXG Gen 5 irons out that round, and hit those really well. Like I hit them well. They just kind of came up short on everything. And I think part of it was windy, but the other part of it too is it was pretty cold. It was like 50 degrees. And like I said, a little drizzly and all that. And it was like everything. I was a club short on everything. So I was just putting everything on the front of the green. And when I took extra club, it seemed like I would kind of get it back to the hole, but not really. And like I said, it was just could have been me or the weather, but I was hitting some good iron shots. They just weren't going anywhere. So it'll be interesting to see as it gets warmer how those pan out. So like I said, going into, and I did hit the one really good shot I hit in that course. I hit, like I said, we were playing kind of a 2-man scramble thing. My drive was just a little bit in the rough on this one par 5. We had like 270 kind of uphill into this par 5, and I just ripped that TSI 3 with that Graphite Design GP7. And I was maybe like 15 yards off the green, which for me is, I don't hit a 3-wood that long, especially, maybe off a tee, I'll get one to go like that, but off the deck that never happens. And ripped one down there, and we had like a tiny little wedge in. It was a pretty good shot, but like I said, I hit some good iron shots. Putting wise, I didn't putt badly. I just didn't make any putts, and I had the 2 on Chicago out there over the weekend, and I just didn't make any putts. Like I hit good putts. I did make, on 17, we were. The guy we were playing, like I said, 2-man scramble, and we needed the guys we were playing hit their chip shot onto to 2 inches. So they were in for par. We had a much tougher wedge shot, and we both got it on the green, but we had probably 8 feet uphill, little right to lefter, and one of my buddies, right as I kind of stood up to the putt, was just like, oh man, like the cart girl's watching and da da da, like it was just talking some smack. Drained it. So we won, and that's probably the reason we didn't play 18 either, because we won the match, so it didn't really matter. But it was a good time, so we had fun. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the Gen 5s, I mean, they feel great. They go, they're really forgiving, because I've got the 0311Ts, and they go really well. I mean, they're really forgiving. It's just like I just didn't hit them very far, and like, I know they play off like a 46-degree pitching wedge or something like that, but they were just really short. And again, I think it was probably more the weather than anything. So this week, I'm kind of eyeing. I might put the 770s back in the bag. We'll see. I don't know. We might put the 770s in the bag, and then, like I said, I've been playing the Sugar Daddy 2 wedges for the most part. Not the 50. For the 50 degree, I've been playing an MG3, TaylorMade Mill Grind 3, and then playing the 54 and 58 in the Sugar Daddy 2s, and they've been really good. I've been liking those, but I might go back to full MG3 tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe go that route. See how those go. But I think I'm going to put the 770s back in the bag. I might toss in. I've got the new Cobra Forge Tech and Forge Tech X, but I only have like a 5 and 7 iron for each one. So I might put like the 5 iron of the Forge Tech X in there, and then maybe like the 7 iron of the Forge Tech in there. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. Well, I've done that before. I've mixed some sets, and then usually I go and play my league, and I don't play either one of those irons for whatever reason. But I'm kind of leaning towards 770s. I think I'm going to take a Rogue ST Max 3-wood with the with a Ventus Red that I've got shafted up. That I shafted up a while ago, and I didn't hit it great one round, so I've kind of shelved it a little bit, but I think it's time to give it another whirl and see how it goes. And then, the other one, the 7-wood, the PXG 7-wood has been, dude, that was like the one club I was hitting great out like over the weekend. I brought it to league. I never needed to hit it. Oh no, it's a lie. I hit it on number 11, which 11 is a hole that you basically there's water at like 280. So I mean, you can hit driver. I mean, I can. I mean, I'd have to hit like the drive of my life to get it into the water. But the fairway runs out at probably like 280, and then like the water goes in from there. And I hit 7-wood because I usually hit hybrid there, and then I play like a 9 iron into the green, and I hit a 7-wood just right down the right side. Just had a little gentle draw to the left. It was perfect shot. And then over the weekend I hit like 3 balls or something like that. But the problem is none of them were like into the green. Like most of the shots I hit, I kind of knew like I didn't have enough in the tank to get it there, but 3-wood was too much. So I hit it kind of almost in a sense laying up. But I mean, I hit nothing but good shots in that 7-wood. So the 7-wood is starting to really enjoy the 7-wood. That Gen 5 0311 XF has been really good. So I've been impressed with it. Been playing that a lot, and then we'll see. I think it's going to stay in the bag. It's just interesting because I mean, when I come to the front 9 at St. Clair Shores for my league, there's just no holes. I mean, I hit it on 2, but I'd hit it off the tee. I hit it on 3 again off the tee, and then I don't think I'd hit it again. I mean, maybe the par 5 8 if I hit like even that. I mean, when I hit a really good drive, I mean, I don't know if I'd be able to have enough to hit driver and then that into that green. If it was downwind maybe a little bit, that would be a combo. But I just don't hit it that much. Like I said, I'd hit it off the tee, and it's 0 roll. I mean, it just goes straight in the air, comes straight down, and that's it. So it's hybrid. I hit a little longer off the tee because it does get a little roll. So we'll see. But the 7-wood has been really good, and I've been kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily relying on it yet, but I've been hitting it well. So right now it's looking like MG3 wedges, P770s, and I've got the new KBS Tour lights in those, which I'm going to do a show on probably next week. I feel like if I get another round in on those, I'll be good with doing a show on those. So I'll have the KBS Tour lights probably next week. And then for, in terms of hybrid or 7-wood, I don't know yet. I don't know. I might throw the old Callaway UW back in. I've been playing the Forge Tech, the Cobra Forge Tech with that Ventus HB8, Ventus Blue HB8 in it. So I might throw that or the UW. I don't know. We'll see. I'll kind of decide maybe a little last minute on which one goes in. And then driver, I don't know. I mean, it's tough because I hit the XF really good. So Maybe I go Rogue ST. Actually, I'm probably gonna go Cobra LTD again. I'm probably gonna go Cobra LTDX. I don't know what shaft yet. I might go. I might go Ventus TR because that's kind of what I got fit into a little bit. I got fit in Ventus Blue, but I hit TR a little better. So I might go with that in the LTDX head. We'll see. And then for 3-wood, I don't know. Like I said, I think I'm going to Rogue ST Max with the Ventus Red. So that should be the whole bag there. And then putter-wise, I think I'll go put the old Bettinardi back in. Or it'll be between the Bettinardi and the Lab. Between those two, we'll go back in for that round. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, like I said, it's not too crazy windy. And then I'm playing Friday, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's not too bad. It's been good so far. So we'll get all that rolling. Put the bag together. The other thing too, found a few lambkin deep edge cords. I want to say I got DM'd on Instagram. One of the guys there said gripsforless.com had the grips, and they did. I can't remember what the price was, but I want to say it was kind of like they're a little pricier than they usually are. So I went on Amazon real quick because I was getting a couple things off Amazon anyway, and found the deep etch cord, the Bettinardi, the lime green ones, for $10 each, $9.95 a piece. And I bought I bought 4 of them just to have, but they had them there. And like I said, I was ordering something anyway, so I figured why not get these? But they had the lime green ones, which again I don't necessarily love lime green, but I love the grip, so I'm gonna put them on there. So I got 4 of them, so I'll be able to shaft up or grip up a couple putters with a new grip, which is nice. So got a handful of those, which is awesome. And like I said, the lime green isn't necessarily my first choice, but I'll take it because it's they're lambkin deep etch cords, and they were $10 a pop. So good to go. If you search on Amazon, please don't buy them all out in case I want to go back and grab a few more. Don't go snag them all up. But if you look at gripsforless.com and you're a big fan of that grip, it is there. I don't remember the guy who sent me the thing. It's in my DMs on my Club Junkie Pod Instagram account at Club Junkie Pod. But I just did Q&As today, so I've got a crap ton of DMs and stuff like that in there, so I don't have time to go through it and figure out his name. But thank you very much if you listen. Thank you so much for letting me know. I really do appreciate it. So this week, I guess I'm going to get into talking to a couple drivers. I know I just said driver has been a struggle for me, but when I was hitting these a few weeks ago, I wasn't struggling near as much. I was definitely hitting better drives, and I had these things out on the range for a few weeks. But I do have the brand new Tour Edge C722 and the E722. So Tour Edge, if you're not familiar with Tour Edge, if you're the fan of the show, you've probably heard me talk about the previous clubs. The Exotics line is their high-end stuff. They pump a ton of technology, high-end materials, all that into their Exotics line. And they literally probably ruled the fairway and hybrid market for a long time because they were kind of one of the first guys to really put like a super hot titanium face in a fairway wood. And I remember, like I said, I think I've told the story before. I remember working at the shop and seeing those first exotic 3-woods come in. I think they were like $400 or $500, and they were they were driver expensive, but man, they're crazy long. And so the Exotics line, I know they have less expensive lines like the Hot Launch and some other stuff. So people automatically, I think, put them in a, kind of a lesser tier. But the Exotics line is something that they put a ton of money, a ton of research, and a ton of money into materials on these things, and they do perform really well. So I know I've talked about the woods, the fairway wood, and the hybrids already, and then we have. We've now got drivers, and I've had these things I've had them for probably about a month, and I just have had other stuff come up for the show. So finally, I think somebody did DM me, and they're like, "Hey, when are you doing that comparison between the drivers?" And I was like, "I'm getting to it." I'm like, "I hope it'll be this week." So here it is. But so they've got 2 models, like I said, and basically both the 722, which is 722 stands for 2022. And the E is basically built for maximum forgiveness, easy to launch. Got a single weight in the back to kind of help increase MOI, and it's also used, I think, for swing weight purposes when they build these things. The one thing that's interesting when you pull this weight out, because it just takes the wrench, it just unscrews. And the one in here is a 30 gram, I think. I mean, it's pretty heavy. And I was super excited because I was like, wow, you have a huge area to kind of hot melt the head. When you open them up, no, it's all closed off. So if you hot melt it, you got to go through the hosel or something like that. So it's which isn't a huge deal. I mean, most adjustable drivers, you can go through the hosel and you're good to go. But yeah, I was kind of shocked that I removed the weights and nope, there's no access to the head. It doesn't go all the way through, which is kind of funny, but not a big deal. So yeah, so the E, like I said, is the more forgiving model, meant to be maximum forgiveness, super long, super straight, 460 cc's. And then the C series is designed kind of for the better player, lower spinning, a little bit more adjustability. And I think it's like 445 cc's or something like that. It's like just under 460. And when you set them down, they do, the C has a little more compact shape. It's a little shorter from face to back, where the E series seems to be a little more stretched out. And also the E series, the face angle is a little more square, if not just a hair closed at the neutral setting. I think these are both 10.5 heads. Where the C definitely sits a little bit open. The way they, I think both of them, the way they paint the top line, they look a little more open anyway. But the C, you can definitely tell, is a little more open for those players who, like myself, kind of hit a little bit left and don't want to see a shut face. The C series is definitely calling your name instead. You know, a little shallower face than some other stuff out there. I mean, like especially when you look at compared to the Sim, definitely have a little shallower face than those there. They're not quite as deep. But they're not bad. I think they're definitely a little deeper than last year's. The C7 or the 721 from last year definitely had a pretty shallow face. These things both a little deeper. I would say the between the two, they're pretty much the same. I would say maybe yeah, the C is a few millimeters deeper than the E, but not by a whole lot. They both have the Ridgeback technology, which is a titanium ridge that runs through the middle. Adds stability to the face, helps increase ball speed and things like that. And then it also moves some titanium to the back to increase MOI. And then, you know, Diamond, I think it's called the Diamond 2.0 face now. I think this is the 2.0. So basically behind the face is a bunch of, or Diamond Face VFT. So this is the new one. And behind the face is a bunch of little diamonds that are machined into it to help kind of flex and add ball speed on mishits. So it's got, like I said, a ton of technology. If you look at the sides, both sides are full carbon pieces. So they're almost carbon cups. And then this year they added a little bit of detail to the bottom as well, which I think gives it a better look. Last year's was a great driver. It was really straight. It just kind of didn't have as nice of a look to it. This definitely, like having a little texture, a little bit of detail on the bottom, definitely helps the look and gives it a little richer look, in my opinion, personally. The only thing I don't love, which I don't think they had last year, I don't remember, but they put the 722 on the top as an alignment aid, you know, on the very top. I don't necessarily love that. I wish they would have kept it clean, but again, that's a pretty minor gripe. But you know, that's the only thing I could say I really you know, would look. This year's, I think also the carbon on it is a little darker also, it seems like. I might have to pull out, I think I have an old one, but I think the carbon on this one's a little darker, so you don't notice as much as the Ridgeback as previous years. I know some people said it was a little distracting. I think this year's the 722 series, it's a little bit darker, so it's not quite as noticeable as before. But yeah, so hitting them side by side. The E series, to start with that, like I said, when I set it down, to my eye, like I said, it looks just a hair shut. I bet it's probably square, but it looks just a hair shut. But overall, it's got a good big profile that I typically like. You know, gives me the confidence you can kind of hit it anywhere on the face. It still has the big adjustable hosel where you can go from, I think it's, like these are both 10.5 heads. You could go basically down to an 8.5 and up to a 12.5 on this head with the adjustable sleeve. And the nice thing is too is if you want to go like at a 10.5 head and you want to go a little flat, when you can go down from, I think it's the standard is 10.5 at like, I think I want to say it's 10.5 at 59. You can go up, you know, go a little more upright, go up to 62. with keeping it at 10.5. So if you're somebody who fights a little bit of the right, you can even make this thing a little more upright. But it's pretty adjustable. It's got a lot of options on hosel, which is nice. Then the E series, only the one single weight, but the E, like I said, in its standard setting, looks a hair shut to my eye. I know it's probably straight, but overall the profile I think looks really good. Like I said, it's kind of it's a little it's a little larger footprint, but again I like that. It's a little longer, probably heel to toe, but it kind of gives you that confidence that it's you can kind of hit it anywhere in the face and it's going to stay. The ball's going to stay in play. And realistically, this thing, that's pretty much what it does. It just goes straight. It's extremely stable. When I was hitting it again, kind of missing it more high toe than anywhere, the E series, I mean, it just went straight. Like it went high and it went straight. It was super easy to get off and up and into the air. Like I said, I think it came with the stock Ventus Blue, but it's 6X that is non-velo core, but still, it played fairly stout. And this thing, like I said, was easy to get in the air. It definitely had kind of an initial really high launch that got up quick. It didn't seem to, it didn't seem to be crazy high spin, hitting it into the wind, things like that. You didn't see a ton of rise, maybe a little bit, but it was still, it would get out there and it'd be a fairly boring trajectory. But the big thing about it is it just went straight. Like you could hit it pretty much anywhere and the ball just wanted to go straight. For me, I'm always going to have a little bit of draw to the ball or anything like that, and I'd still have that. But balls that you think, the swing you put on it, you think like that thing's gone, it's not going to be in play, and this thing would kind of keep it in play. But the E series is super forgiving. In terms of launch, I remember I had, some launch. I had like a launch monitor out there. I think I had the full swing out there and kind of hitting them side by side. I don't remember exact numbers, but it was the launching on this one was, because I kind of hit a couple different shafts, was I think about, for me, a little more than a degree higher than the C series. And like I said, I was kind of going between a couple of the UST shafts and stuff like that in there, just kind of hitting different balls with different, hitting balls with different shafts and things like that. So it was about a degree. It was probably like 1.2, 1.3 higher than the C series in terms of initial launch angle. And it did spin, probably around like 600 or 700 RPM more than the C. The E series would kind of get me up in that like 26 to 2800 RPM range, where the C series, especially if you move the weight forward, would really get me to like the low 2000s, which is kind of too low for me. That would be like 2300, 2200, where I'd see kind of the 26s to 28s with the E series. So a little different in spin. If you move the weight back on the C series, it would probably be closer to like 400 RPM difference between the two. Like that would kind of raise it about 1 to 200 on me from the C. But the E series, like I said, probably around 600 RPM difference for me from what I saw. And like I said, it was pretty much everything was in that 26 to 2800 RPM range. Some things in the 25s when I hit it good, hit it dead center. But ball speed was really good on miss hits. The thing carried really well. I know my buddy John came out to me with a range one time, and he kind of saw that I had these both in the bag and kind of was, he's always impressed with like, oh, you got the Stealth, you got the Rogue ST, you got all this stuff. And he was like, well, let me just hit it. And he hit, and he's not an X-Flex guy, which, like I said, this thing had a Ventus Blue 6X, like a non-velo core version, and he's more of a lighter stiff or heavier regular flex guy. And he was hitting this thing dead straight and high, and it was like he was super shocked, and he was basically like, I'm going to take this out of your bag. And I was like, no, you're not yet. Maybe later, but not now. And he hit it really well and was surprised at how easy it was to hit. And he's a guy who plays a Ping G410 410 Max. I think it's a 410 Max. And he loves that driver, and he was hitting this thing basically higher and more consistently straight than he was his ping. It was pretty interesting, because I pretty much figured he would hit it well, but he would kind of hit because he hits it a little right anyway. Like that's his miss. I thought he would hit some more shots to the right with this than he would just because of the flex of the shaft, and he really didn't hit that many. Low and right with even with an X flex, he was able to turn that thing over and hit it really straight. But I found the same thing. It was like it got up in the air quick. It was easy to hit straight. It was really forgiving. I will say, boat drivers a little loud. I know they have kind of acoustic channels in there and everything that kind of dial the sound. They were a little louder than I expected them to be. Both of them, to be honest, they had a little kind of a more metallic sound to them. And a little louder than probably last year's. Last year's I think had a little more of a crack sound to it. These are a little higher pitched, but again, sound is that's everybody's a little different on what they like and what they don't. I had a conversation recently with a guy who hated one putter, and it was a putter that I loved, and I was like, I thought it felt great, sounded da da da. And he was like, man, no, to me it sounded harsh and da da da. So I mean, sound and feel are very very dependent on the person and what they like. Like I said, these are a hair louder, I think, than last year. Not by a ton, but a little bit. But like I said, the E-Series, really impressed with how straight it goes, no matter where you hit in the face. And like I said, the ball speed on those miss hits was really good. So, if you're looking for something easy to launch and easily and takes away a lot of the right side, because like I said, my buddy is definitely a little more of a slice guy than I am for sure. And he was hitting it dead straight. I mean, he only hit a handful of balls right. It was really easy to kind of turn it over and get that thing released and hit it straight. So E-Series, super forgiving, super easy to hit. And really, if you're looking for something easy to hit and a little different price point, I want to say that these here are a little cheaper than everything else out there. I mean, they're like, this is the E-Series is $399. The C series that I'm about to talk about is $429. So price point wise, definitely a little easier on the wallet. But at $399, it's a really good driver, and at that price point, it's tough to find something that's probably too much better. But like I said, if you're looking for something easy to launch, easy to hit, I mean, I would kind of put it in that that max category with everything else. Hitting it up with as like the 425 maxes and the Rogue LS or the Rogue ST maxes and all those. I think this would go in there, and especially something where you like a little shallower face. You don't like stuff so crazy deep, but this thing here performs really, really well. Like I said, at that $399 price point, it's going to be tough to beat. And it whether you have the choice of getting this brand new or something that's a year old or 2 years old. It's hard to go get something brand new there because you get a few more options and stuff like that with it. And then we get into the C722, which is like I said, the more kind of players driver, a little more compact. Like I said, I think it's 445, 445 cc's or 450, right around that. So a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact than the E. Looks definitely a little more open when you set it down in the standard 10.5 setting. It is a little more open, and then if you want to take a little loft out of it, you can definitely make it look wide open, which is pretty cool. Because like I said, I'm a guy who I like stuff that looks open. I hit it left, and that gives me a little bit of confidence that maybe it won't go quite as far left. But this one here, definitely a little flatter, more penetrating ball flight. Like I said before, I think it was like 1.2, 1.3. In terms of 1.2, 1.3 degrees lower launching than the E-Series. And, like I said, depending on the weight, like I pretty much kept the weight in the back. I did move it forward just to hit a few shots to see what it would do. And it did lower spin. I didn't really notice the launch really change much at all. It definitely probably took away a little bit of the forgiveness. I hit a couple good shots with it, and then I ended up moving it back. So I'm never a guy who typically moves the heavyweights forward because I don't need to. But like I said, probably around, for me it was around 600-ish RPM spin less than the E. This one here, I got into some of those low 200, like low 2000 numbers that I just, for me they're too low. The 2200s and things like that. I just don't care enough ball speed for shots that low. And I did have a couple shots that I thought kind of went out, looked really good, and then kind of fell out of the sky a little quicker than they probably should have, or had a little steeper descent angle. And I think it's just because spin wise I hit a few that were just really low. But the weight in the back, I saw kind of like around 100-ish RPM spin difference between moving it back or forward. It wasn't for me much a whole lot more than that. But the C series, really like the look of it. Like I said, a little more compact. Love the open face, a little deeper face as well. And then with this one here, it's still, when you move the heavyweight back, which I can't remember, they're not quite as heavy. That one's 30 grams. This one's a 20 and a 5. Is it 20 and 5? it's hard to read there. Yeah, 20 and a 5. So, 20 grams moving up front, you definitely notice a little bit of forgiveness going away. But when you move it in the back, I mean, it still goes pretty straight. I mean, for more players, low spin driver, it still goes pretty darn straight. It's pretty darn forgiving. Not as much as the E, which is kind of tee it up, point, and just shoot, and you're probably going to be in the vicinity of where you're aiming. This one here, you can get a little wilder with it, but not horribly bad. It's still, like I said, for a smaller, more compact, smaller CC driver, it's still pretty darn forgiving and goes a long way. The ball speed on it, again, both these things, really, really good. I mean, it hangs up there with most of the drivers out here now. I mean, if you're comparing it to, say, the Stealths and the Cobras, the Mizunos, whatever, it hangs up there with everything. It may not be the ultimate fastest from everything I've hit, but it's, like I said, not far behind at all. And again, the mishits on it are really good. Like the responsiveness on it is solid. You're going to tell right away where you hit it. If you hit it low heel, you hit it high toe, you're going to feel that thing on the face. And when you hit it dead center, it's definitely one that you feel the ball kind of compress and jump off the face and go. The thing is definitely hot. And like I said, I think for the better player who, doesn't necessarily need all the forgiveness of the E, this one here will allow you to walk up, kind of hit that draw, hit that fade. And also, like, that added adjustability and being able to move that weight forward for some of the bigger hitters, the higher spin players. Having that ability to kind of dial it in with those that little bit of the spin to kind of correct that is pretty big, and being able to dial it in is pretty awesome. So C-Series was, like I said, really good. It was my favorite in terms of hitting it because I think I hit it the most consistently in a sense because I was just confident in it when I set it down. But overall, both really, really solid drivers. Both basically the same tech, just like I said, a little different design. So if you're higher swing speed guy, carries a little bit more spin, looking for something that's a little lower spin but still forgiving, I mean, this C722 is a good option. I think it's, for the better player. I mean, I think it kind of competes in that same arena where you look at those, like Callaway the Rogue ST Triple Diamonds, and, it may not. No, I mean, it's probably, with the weight forward, all that, you're probably getting spin-wise, close to the kind of the Stealth Pluses and the LTD XLSs and stuff like that. You're probably just behind it. But, if you're a higher spin player, higher speed player, the C will give you, great distance, all that, at a less expensive price, and, you'll be able to kind of dial it in for your game. And like I said, the other part, the kind of cool thing, too, is, if you really need some low loft, you can get that 9.5 degree head and drop it down to 7.5. So you can get a pretty low launching, low lofted head if you really need it. But yeah, these 10.5, same thing. I mean, you can go down to 8.5, you can go up to 12.5, even with the C series, which is kind of cool. They both have the same sleeve. But it's overall, like, both these drivers are just really solid. And at the price point they're at, $429 and $3, I think it's, what did I say, $429 or $449? I don't remember. $429 and $399. It's it's going to be tough to beat, especially if you're somebody who's the 550s and almost 600s and some of these drivers is a little getting out of the price range. You have some options here to try something that's brand new, 2022 technology, all that. But won't hurt the wallet as much. But like I said, they perform up there with the big boys, and if you're putting it out there to compare, why not? Why not give them a try? So, like I said, two different models depending on the player you are, and both of them perform really well. So, if you go to tworedge.com, check out all the exotic stuff. But the C and the E's have been really, really good. So, I'll be getting them on the course here soon as well. Just got a lot of drivers to go through, so we'll get them on the course here soon, and we'll try them out there as well. But yeah, it was been, like I said, a lot of fun hitting those, and I think that's all I've got today. So wish me luck at League today. If you want to, if you have any questions, any comments, anything, hit me up at Club Junkie Pod. And like I said, every Wednesday I try to do a Q&A and just answer questions. If you have a question asking about shafts, and give me an idea of a higher launching shaft for whatever club, or what's between these two clubs or whatever. If it's stuff I've hit, I will gladly tell you. I know everybody hits me up with Acra questions, and I don't hit Acra shafts. They don't send any into the office. And again, I'd have to drive like 30 minutes to like a club champion to go hit them. And I'm not going to bother those guys and try to take up their time from a busy fitting schedule to hit a bunch of shafts. I mean, I'd love to, but I'm just not going to do that to those guys. So, Yeah, so that's why I haven't hit any Acra stuff. So I always get a bunch of Acra questions, and I haven't hit an Acra shaft in years, other than maybe an iron shaft like 4 years ago. But that's about it. So, but anyway, if you got any question, anything to say, like, hit me up there. It's the best spot. And yeah, you guys have a great weekend. Play some golf, and we'll talk next week.